No, Kim Belair hasn't decided to publicly embrace her love of Bowser, but we've still got some hot gossip. I honestly thought I was done after the last Wings video, but recently an insider reached out to me with some juicy information. Instead of taking responsibility or clarifying, Wings chose to delete their socials and go dark. The reason? Yup, you guessed it, a Gamergate harassment campaign. How original. Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and welcome back to the channel. We have a big Wings update here for you, but before we get into it, consider smashing that like button and hitting subscribe. Clock in and join the rest of us here at the Night Shift. Don't worry, we don't bite. Wings Interactive is fully aware of our coverage. Not only that, they've seen articles from that park place mentioning our investigative work. But publicly addressing our findings and their hidden ties to Landfall Games? Nope, silence instead. Privately, though? Well, that's a different story altogether. Behind closed doors, Wings has been actively discussing this situation in their private Discord, exclusively available to developers they've funded, and nobody else. They haven't released any public statements, instead choosing internal notifications and private conversations. A developer funded by Wings, who kindly spoke with me under the guise of anonymity, explained that Wings justified deleting their social media and public presence as necessary to protect themselves and the developers from supposed harassment. Rather than addressing legitimate transparency issues and undisclosed connections, Wings is privately framing the controversy as a coordinated harassment campaign led by Gamergate types. The developer I spoke to confirmed receiving notifications from Wings' private Discord framing my factual coverage as harassment. Even though I've consistently focused on facts and asked reasonable questions and avoided targeting developers. In the developer's own words, quote, "I just noticed notifications in the Discord server. I read them, but muted them after a while," end quote. Wings has actively discussed every step we took since the initial expose. When I asked for screenshots, our insider was hesitant to provide those, but did provide some general details on what they were saying. Wings has refused to take responsibility, instead privately claiming that I incited harassment. Let me address this directly. I've never harassed anyone. I avoided naming developers. I showed them only in passing, and I never encouraged targeting anyone. The insider themselves acknowledged this during our conversation. Quote, "By not mentioning one person, anyone who speaks to you opens themselves up to being singled out," end quote. That's precisely why I avoided mentioning individual developers. Transparency and truth are my goals, not harassment. Wings labeling these honest questions as harassment seems like a deliberate tactic to discourage open discussion, and yet, despite this supposed harassment narrative, this insider felt safe enough to reach out to me. Almost like I'm not a monster orchestrating harassment. Funny that. But there's more, the insider shared. The insider revealed that while Wings funding helped financially, their practical resources they promised fell noticeably short. Wings openly claims on their website that they offer introductions to major partners like Xbox, Sony, and Netflix. Yet, according to our insider, the actual support was minimal, even disappointing. Quote, "Resource-wise, I only used their playtesters. The feedback was disappointing as their sample pool wasn't acquainted with the type of project I was working on," end quote. They explicitly added, quote, "In truth, they were pretty hands-off when it came to developing my game, so they didn't do much but send me money," end quote. This raises major questions. For a fund positioning itself as a supportive indie resource with high-level connections, you'd think their support would be stellar, but clearly it's not. And our insider wasn't the only developers with these concerns. A game that Wings funded, Pushy and Pulley in Blockland, their developers faced a controversy over claims that they failed to pay an artist, eventually stating that they simply didn't have profits to distribute. The Moon Pirates, another developer funded by Wings, had to completely remove all of their games due to financial and legal issues, effectively shutting down entirely. It's curious, isn't it? Games funded by Wings repeatedly seem to struggle financially. With connections as significant as Wings claims, you'd expect better outcomes. What exactly is Wings hoping to achieve here? Do they genuinely care about the developers they fund? Or is this all just for optics, diversity points, and possibly even government grants? We don't currently have proof of Wings receiving government grants, but given their connections, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Instead of openly addressing concerns, Wings chose to delete their social media, remove website content, and go radio silent publicly. But according to our insider, Wings isn't disappearing permanently. They explicitly said that they plan to return when it's safe. Safe from what? Accountability? Transparency? When asked directly if harassment claims were why Wings decided to vanish, our insider confirmed explicitly, quote, "It is for that reason. Yes, it's likely they'll reopen once it's safer," end quote. But why not clarify publicly? Why rely solely on private communication? Why is acknowledging their connection to Landfall such an issue? Here's where we stand. Why frame legitimate critique as harassment? Why no clear public statement if they feel unfairly targeted? If they have nothing to hide, why delete their entire online presence? Why did Audrey LaPrince, the co-founder of Wings, go to such extreme lengths, even deleting her LinkedIn? Why not just go protected everywhere? And if you have nothing to hide, then why have you deleted over 1,000 tweets? How does disappearing help the developers left holding the bag? My goal has never been to harm developers. Transparency helps gamers make informed decisions. The developer who spoke with me deserves respect, and as promised, I won't mention their identity or game. If other developers wish to come forward, I hope you know I'll extend the same courtesy. Because unlike Wings, I genuinely have nothing to hide. Wings Interactive owes their developers and the public an explanation. Blaming this on a Gamergate harassment campaign is a convenient excuse, but it's not based in reality. Until Wings is truthful, and let's face it, the chances of that are slim to none. Here is my final message to Wings for now, since I now know 100% that you're watching. Transparency isn't harassment, and accountability isn't an attack. Maybe these are unfamiliar concepts for you, or maybe my words will fall on deaf ears, but that doesn't make them any less true. Wings Interactive, the ball is in your court. Step up or keep hiding. But we won't forget. I won't forget. And you can't hide from the truth forever.
Like the video, break the algorithm spell, share with your crew. Escape life's hell, from spooky memes to advice obscure. Here's your dark solace of humor as a cure.